I am Eddie Shvartsman. I am the head nerd for OpenStack Cloud Toolkit, speaking of ecosystems. Okay, so what is the OpenStack Cloud Toolkit for OpenPOWER? It is a one-button private cloud infrastructure configuration and bring-up tool. You download this Ansible playbook. You fill out a few simple variables in the input file, and we will stand up a fully functional cloud with high availability. We will configure the hardware, the management stack, which is OpenStack, of course, and the operations manager. More about that coming up. This toolkit is built entirely with open community code. There is no proprietary code that we've leveraged, so it is literally open from the chips up. So the hardware is open and the management stack is open. It's driven by OpenStack Ansible. This is a project in OpenStack where we participate quite vigorously, and we are upstreaming the contributions that we make. So if we find something interesting for OpenPOWER, we contribute it back to the community so that it becomes part of the open source branch. The toolkit is meant to unlock OpenPOWER value, all those great things about OpenPOWER that we've been talking about. And I think as John Zanos talked about, if you have hardware, you need some software to run on top of it. It's freely distributed and publicly available. You can go to this GitHub location and you can download the playbook, and you can launch the toolkit and check it out for yourself. Okay, so let's take a closer look at some of these components that constitute the toolkit. A big an important sort of function that's emerged in OpenStack and the industry overall is object storage. You would be hard-pressed to find a cloud these days of any significance that doesn't have object storage. So one of the things that the toolkit sets up is this Swift cluster that's running on OpenPOWER hardware, right? So by running on OpenPOWER, we've done some preliminary performance studies, and we showed that we have a significant advantage running Swift on OpenPOWER compared to x86 hardware. And the toolkit can automate either a standalone implementation of Swift or Swift as part of a greater private cloud. And we have support for fairly large-scale implementations. Okay. So OpenStack private cloud, of course, when we say private cloud, what we mean are sort of the standard VM as a service and supporting complement. So we will stand up Nova for compute. These are OpenStack terms for those who are not familiar. OpenStack likes to give cute names to all of their services. So you have Glance for image. You have Keystone for the identity service. There's Cinder, which does block storage. The storage provider that we use is Ceph in this toolkit. More about that in a minute. Heat for orchestration, neutron networking, and a UI called Horizon. Again, this uses OpenStack Ansible. And with contributions upstreamed, it's a highly available management stack. In other words, we have redundant controllers. It's meant for enterprise level use. And coming soon, containers. So containers is an evolving story in OpenStack, and as it continues to evolve, we're looking into leveraging some of the projects that are under development. Okay, another really exciting topic in the open world is database as a service. So the database as a service project in OpenStack is called Trove, and that is what our toolkit sets up. And there's a long laundry list of the benefits that it provides. I'll just, since this is a very quick overview, I'll just touch on the 4 basic things: provisioning, integration through REST APIs, management, which involves various things like replication, backup and restore, data storage, etc., and configuration. So one thing I wanted to kind of note here, if you look at this little picture on the bottom right here, you'll notice that you see the other OpenStack components running along with Trove. And this is a source of considerable benefits. So for example, for backup and restores of database data, you would write that data into Swift. So everything is sort of integrated and you have access to the other OpenStack services. Okay. So let's talk about Ceph. For those who haven't heard of it, Ceph is a software-defined storage solution, and the particular aspect of it that we're using is block storage. So Ceph provides access to block devices that are striped across the entire storage cluster, right? They're striped and replicated, and there are various replication and availability schemes that you could select for Ceph. There are some significant performance benefits for running Ceph on OpenPOWER. In the private cloud that the toolkit sets up, you manage block storage through the Cinder driver for Ceph. Okay. Again, we're just doing I'm just skimming the surface here, and we can have a more in-depth discussion during the break. I can put you in touch with all the nerds. All right. So let's talk a little bit about hardware setup. So you have a bunch of boxes that you've connected to a switch. That doesn't mean you're ready for installing OpenStack. There's setup that happens at the hardware level, and our toolkit actually has a reference architecture to support it. So it greatly simplifies the configuration that you need to do to get this stack, to get the hardware ready for the management stack. And we leverage industry standard sort of things, Cobbler, for those who are familiar with the open source configuration tool, Ansible, Python. It's all sort of open, straightforward. We use IPMI and Pixie Boot. So it all works extremely well with OpenPOWER. Nothing, you don't have to do anything magical or special to make things work, which is great. Operational management. So this is a topic that even experienced sort of cloud architects often don't think about until it's too late. And that is that after you set up your cloud, you're going to need to operate it. And you're going to need to operate it not on just day 3 and 4, but on day 554. And if something goes wrong, you need a way to identify the problem. If there is some kind of bottleneck in performance, you need to be able to understand it and take corrective actions. All of that kind of falls into the realm of operational management, and our toolkit builds an operational management framework, including a UI, by leveraging open source software. So, for example, we have log analysis through Elk, Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana, for those who are not familiar with it. We have also monitoring through Nagios and various other sort of monitoring solutions. Okay. So in conclusion, there's this great toolkit that can very quickly set up a cloud on your OpenPOWER hardware. And it includes everything from block storage, hardware setup, operational management, object store, private cloud, database as a service, and block storage. And in early next year, we're going to look into big data with Sahara, the OpenStack service for Hadoop. And we're probably going to stretch out into some other OpenStack projects as we go along. Again, you can download this from GitHub/OpenPOWER. And if you are interested in pursuing this deeper and further, please talk to me during the break, and I will be very enthusiastic to help you. Okay, that's it. Thank you.